tonight, let's go into our notes for a Sunday night. What are we going to be looking at? Things like the VIX, top thing on the list there. Where are we at? Take a look at the VIX, talk about how we use that. We are going to be checking out the news on the docket for tomorrow and later on in the week. Earnings reports, this is actually going to be important this week. I did see already that we've got earnings reports coming out pretty much all week, unless I looked at the wrong one, but I'll take a peek at that. I believe this is going to be important, so red star around this one here for earnings reports this week. We've got rollovers. Let's take a peek. Let's see, what week are we in? The 12th? No, at the beginning of the year here, this should not be much of anything here on rollovers. We'll take a look at last week. Wow, what an amazing week last week. We had some bonus days. We had some amazing traders just wrecking it last week. It was awesome. We'll take a look at the technical analysis here for the week, and of course we will wrap up with questions. If you guys want to ask questions there, of course there's a section there in Discord to pop those in there. We'll answer those in live video sessions. So let's get into some of those items. First one here on the list is that VIX. Let's come down here. The VIX is the volatility index here that we need to be looking for. All right, we're at 12.56, so mark that down here tonight. 12.56 this evening. We'll look at that number tomorrow morning. This is below 1314, so again, we are still continuing to look for a rise and some steady paced action, which has been a very easy set of movement. Last week we got that extra movement because of the macro stuff going on. We had, missiles firing off in Iran. We had, embassies under attack, yada yada. So lots of volatility, and how many people crushed it last week? So VIX is at 12.56. Next thing on our list. All right, news. Let's look at the news schedule for tomorrow. So if you ever want the command in our room, oh, by the way, that command there is !VIX in our room if you want to see the VIX kick out, which is something you need to learn how to do. For the news, but since today, if you just type !news, it's going to give you today's news. We want tomorrow's news, so type news space tomorrow. And here comes AlgoBox. We'll kick this out here for us, getting the news for tomorrow. Please wait. All right, here is our economic news list. That is a scheduled set of news, so don't get that confused with anything that might come out of the woodworks. All right, so tomorrow, here we go. We got a red star on a Monday. CAD, so we're looking at Canadian dollar action. Take AlgoBox mainstream. I love it, baby. Prestige. BOC Business Outlook Survey. That's an odd one, but a red star, so impacting. Then other one is after hours in New Zealand. Intraday 4:30 a.m. Okay, so we might get some good action off of that, but look for some some unsteadiness right prior to that. It's right there at that 10:10 to 10:30. Again, another time where we really don't want to be kind of playing in the market anyhow. So I don't think this is going to be super impacting to us. We will be kind of looking to jump back in the market at 10:30 tomorrow. After our 10:10, you guys know the whole 10:10 rules, right? So again, oh look, so notice that there is nothing here. This is why sometimes it's good. Here's a good lesson right here. Sometimes it's good to don't just rely on one website, y'all. Look, do you see that Red Star News event planned for tomorrow? You notice that? Look, the 10:30 a.m. is not here. You see that? But here we have Eric Rosinger speak. I don't know who that is, but somebody there. So this is on this site, but not on the other. So, it's not bad to go and check these things. Remember, we're not going to be playing off of the news specifically. In fact, if we do, the only thing we're doing is on a Wednesday, trading the opposite of the news that comes out after the 30 minutes. You guys know the crude oil inventory number news strategy. However, we want to know when to be in and when to be out of the market, and that's when these events tell us those things. And it might give us some idea of where we might get some pickup in volatility, where we have more opportunities to take some swings. So later in the week here, CPI numbers 8:30 on Tuesday. That's good. Oh, we got some red dots all week. This is nice. So this should be a nice steady paced week. Don't forget we do have earnings reports. We'll look at that. Thursday is going to be the big one. There are the most, these are kind of standard reports come out on Thursdays anyways, but we kind of plan for these. And Friday, do we have anything extra? Nope, standard stuff there on Friday as well. And FOMC, no FOMC on Wednesday. We do have crude oils there, and of course what they don't show here, API numbers out on Tuesday evening. But looking at the week ahead, no oddball events that we need to be thinking about here. Let's take a peek at some earnings. That is the next one on our list. Exclamation mark, earnings. This is going to take a peek at the number counts. Really, we're just going to try to see if there is a bunch of companies reporting. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, so I don't know. I had seen something on Twitter. Honestly, I think I probably misread it, but there it is. This week, no. Unless we are in like the almost triple digits, okay, there are going to be like hundreds of companies reporting, so we're not really concerned with what's going to happen there on those. You know, maybe a big company here or there, but again, we don't have to focus on those because we are trading futures, but this is to us low, so don't worry about nothing there on the earnings reports. Let's take a look at what's next on our list here. So we got our news. Rollovers, no. There are no rollovers to be concerned with. And last week, oh yeah, let's take a peek at last week. So we had some major events going on last week. Let's come up and take a peek at the ES stuff going on. Oh, that's the wrong screen. How about number uno? There we go. Okay, so on the ES, how close were we in drawing our arrows up here? Pretty darn close! I would say that's pretty darn close. So we had the down move to this location. Okay, now, you know, are we expecting some drop off here? You know, really, once we've gotten past this part, at some point this was my expectation, obviously. So I still expect this to come down in this area, but are we then going to be looking short after this? You know, we don't have to anticipate that far ahead. Remember, for our strategies, we're trading one bar at a time, but it's good to know tide, wave, and ripple. What's the direction of the tide? We're still rising, folks, so don't be trying to crush these with some big shorts. Like, scalp short, folks, and keep your runner positions to the long side, and you're going to be in some good shape. Again, with the exceptions, with our strategies, you guys know how to do what we do. And if you don't, again, come hang out on Monday. We are going to be starting into that again this year and playing the markets like a video game. That is our approach. Confluence, multiple confluence, structure, entry, and management all the way. And of course, risk we'll be talking about tomorrow. But from last week, you know, we basically just crushed it anywhere in the upward direction. Was not a hard week at all. You had great opportunities to catch some big runners. I anticipated, I think, who was the one to hit that out of the park? It was Ursulon. Really paid attention to what I had said the night before. Amazing work. So I told you guys about this, and just write this down if you're taking notes. Okay, here's a note opportunity. Okay, if you want to know some big shifting points, all right, and take a peek between 11:15 and 12:30. Go back and look at your charts, and this you can go year over year on this. Any market where you've got some runs in the market at this time period, you're going to get a pretty big shift right there, and you can catch like some of your biggest moves if you want to try to ride an entire day. Again, that's not necessarily our strategy. We're looking for 20 to 40 minute trades, but if you're trying to go, okay, now I'm going to try to punch in for a runner. Let's say that you're looking at this sheet right here. I think I can let's try this. Yeah, I think I can do this without breaking it. All right, so you know our sheet, right? You're following in, you got our 5 trades. Okay, pow, 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 pow. You know what happens. If you've got 5 trades that you have already succeeded with this morning, right, in the morning, and you want to take that 6th swing, and I tell you guys on the 6th one, if you've got all 5 accurate, you've already made profits on all 5. Again, not necessarily if you haven't, if you're, 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, maybe not, but when I have a solid day and I've got all 5 winners, I've got a good bankroll from that day, I wind up and I swing for the fence. That's the day that I try to punch it out, and I'll go big on a trade. Let's see if I can bring this back down here without losing my drawing. Fantastic, yes. Okay, so what time does this occur? Right here, let's do a little, can I do orange here? All right. So as price comes in, like at the open, okay, so like let's say that this is O for open, okay, market's kind of coming up, we kind of do some stuff like this, and we're moving up, everybody's like, yeah, we're going up, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the market just like, and everybody's like, oh man, it looks like we're going down today, right? And it's just going down, so all of a sudden people start getting short. But if you're going to look for a timestamp when you want to catch the big move, where the market will give this sort of relief leg on the highest time frames, all right? What's up, Anthony? Good to see you. 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 Good to see you Thanks for saying hello. Love it when you guys shop in here, and it just makes it more exciting when all you guys are coming hang out with us. So we're dropping out like this, but here comes 11:15. If you start to see a big trap down here, and then all of a sudden we get a J hook, one of our favorites, right? Everybody's thinking this is coming back down, and then she wrecked it right here, right about here, and it goes maybe another little blip, and then all of a sudden boom, 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 and this thing will just continue to run like crazy. Go back and look at your charts. This happens, you know, year over year again. I've been doing this 14 years total. And professionally, if you count my time where I jumped into prop firm back in 2008, 2009, and know for people who have trolled me on the internet and said, oh, I bet his prop is going into like a Top Step program or Earn to Trade. I've never done any of those, ever. VCM Capital Management, long time ago, was the proprietary prop firm that I was in. So, you know, everybody who's said that kind of trash, again, it's a whole different animal. I'll talk about my story one day for you guys. We'll do a whole video on that again, but I just saw that recently. We're like, oh yeah, he did Top Step back in 2008, 2009. I don't even know if Top Step was around back then, but I'm fairly certain that they weren't. But if they were, no, that's not what I did. It's not what I count prop experience. But anyhow, I love how the trolls just, you know, they keep trying. All right, so you want to be looking for a trap right here, and we're looking for like a J hook somewhere in this area, maybe a double dot scenario. We might have like a double green dot right here, pow. Maybe you have a blue dot somewhere in this area as this thing starts to get wrecked down. Again, we have a small stop on these. You guys know how we run these, standard strategy. But look at the time frame, okay? This is a seasonality trade, okay? Write it down when we talk about seasonality. We'll be talking a lot about this in our training program, again, as we, of course, come into the year. Seasonality, breaking it down. What granularity level does it is your time frame, right? Now, so stock and swing traders and those guys, those things are huge. They're looking at the dailies, they're looking at the weeklies. We are down to the hour and the half hour for our seasonality of the granularity that we care about shifts. So here is one key for our strategies when I do our optimizations that, by the way, I am going to do a live one here tonight. So hang tight for that. You guys are going to see me put out the grid for that and everything here. So lots to learn here tonight on this video. So at this time, this is a big opportunity for these shifts and the change in direction where it will literally never revisit that location. A trap setup coming in at this time. That's what I want you guys to come away with on that tonight. Okay, a trap setup. Okay, look for a trap setup in this hour. Okay, these can come and turn into the biggest pivot points of a day. And does pink show up for you guys? Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay, we're not filtering. Okay, this time, great time to look for that trap and a move, and then our positions, again, take your pick, okay? This could be a multi-harmonic in this area, but the point you guys get, I hope, is that you're looking for that perfect setup right in this area, and then get your runners, okay? Get your runners and just rock it, okay? Add to that position, half on, half off, add, half on, half off, add, until you see a red position that holds you in the other direction. This has been an amazing play lately. That pivot point, go see how many times the market shifted at this time period, somewhere in there, and you catch that trap. A full ride till literally the end of the day, ending at the highs. How many times do you start to end at these highs, especially in these markets that are moving? Now again, is this to apply to every day and every type? No, I'm talking about this very specific type of market runs where we've got these big directions. This will also apply if the market were to take a downturn and we get into a bear market for some reason, that the same thing, you'll see the same seasonality shift. This is a huge turning point. In the same way that I teach you what happens between 1010 and 1030, you also need to know this time frame right here to know that this is a good seasonality for the big mover, and this is the one you might want to take that big daddy swing at when you've got your 5 trades on that 6th shot. You might want to swing for the fences on that one. Put a little risk on and then rock it out, and that can make, literally, that can make your entire month. It can make your entire quarter. It can, some people, it can make their entire year's salary on one of these if you catch it right. So watch for those. Okay, any questions around that? You guys get that? If you guys like that, understand that, type me a 1. If you're got a few questions on that, type a 2, and then let's have some of those questions. Pop those over in the Ask Me Any Questions section. We'll do some more of that in some future training. But we've been seeing this over and over, so I wanted to tap into this as this came in this week and go see what I'm talking about from the prior week. Lots of those big moves. Okay. All right, so this is my lowest time frame window that I work off of on this machine setup. This is a little bit different on my setup over there, and I've got all of the flow master and all that kind of stuff on my other system. This one has not been converted over yet. I use this one sort of as my point of reference, moving back and forth between the machines now, and of course our dev boxes as we are working to get NT8 out, and hopefully around April, May-ish of this year. Look for our NinjaTrader 8, and that's going to be awesome. Okay, so we covered all those. Now, let's get into our optimizations. Last week, if you missed last week's video, I'm not going to rehash how the optimization schedule thing works, but I do want you to know what video you should be looking at, because these are kind of back-to-backs from last week to this one. You are going to get a master's class level of education. There are people who will go out and spend, months going to some AI class or on algorithmic trading, and they'll never understand what I just put in 2 videos for you guys, again, from a guy who has literally done this in practical experience on top of theory, not just theory stuff. Go watch last week's right here, and you're gonna have your eyes opened. I'm not gonna go into those details. That was sort of the theory and the explanation and the in-depth explanations of what we're about to show you. Now I'm just going to run one here tonight. So those of you guys who watched last, you guys are gonna know what. So I'm going to run through the optimization. While this is running, I may give a brief example of what is running here, but I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. And here we go. Okay, so optimization process is running. Now, look at this window up here. So first of all, what we're using here internally, whoa, I got my mouse over here, my dot over here. It's really weird when I do that zoom in thing. Okay, so this is my basket of instruments that I am going to be running our optimization against. So this is literally going to run this against all these. These are the things that a human cannot do, and why we use the machines to do what machines can do best, and we do what humans can do best. And let's draw out some of that, because that will probably take about 4 minutes typically to run for the time frame that I have that set for. So let's do this real quick. So you guys saw a little bit of this last week. Again, you want to go get the big details on that last video, and we may do some other ones of these in the future. But what we're going to do right here, this box over here with the question mark represents tomorrow. Again, we are going to be running, actually really this week. We're not going to be making adjustments as frequently in this type of market condition. And if in the week later on something occurs, like some big event and the market shifts, we will run another optimization and have that ready as well. But this is how I represent, oops, can I change that color without jacking it up? Maybe. Can I do yellow? Fantastic. All right, follow along here. And now they call this the walk, but so optimization period is back here. They call this the walk forward. If you guys have heard that term, walk forward, walk. Okay, I don't like really the term walk because it's too slow for me. I like to run. All right, so I call this our run period. That is what we're going to be running for tomorrow. Okay, this is what's called your out of sample data set. Okay, we know our current data set. We have the prices of the past, right? Everybody understands. We know what's happened in the past, but we want to know this magical land of what's gonna happen. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could have a computer generate what this is gonna do tomorrow? Wouldn't that be awesome if you could predict what's gonna happen tomorrow? Folks, that's the answer of what we do. There it is, in a nutshell. This is what I'm running right now to let the computer predict what this outcome is going to be tomorrow based on recent history. Now, all the theorists and all the people start yelling and screaming. You do have to have an assumption. You have to assume that what has happened in the recent past will continue to happen into tomorrow or X period, small window of time. I'm not trying to project out 100 years. I'm not trying to predict out 50 years. This is like a weatherman. Like a weatherman, if you're going to tell a weatherman that he's not good at his job because he can't predict the weather 6 months from now, well, that's silly, right? But we realized that the weatherman could look at the patterns that are going on and he could predict what's going to happen tomorrow, right? You guys know what I'm talking about as you see the hurricane things that they show and they're like, here's the projected direction where this is going to go. But there's this big window of area that, you know, we don't know exactly what it's going to do. And that's exactly the sort of what we're doing right here. You guys follow that? Right? You guys understand that logic? So that's what we're doing right here. We're going to have a system come in here and chop up the market into slices and dices and do what the computer does best. And all this is getting chopped up, information is getting digested, and it's going to kick out a grid of data, which of course is my favorite part of trying to draw this up every time. I feel like I get better at drawing this every time, but maybe I don't. All right, so we're gonna draw out some a grid. Here's my grid. All right. Oh, and I jacked it up. I was doing so good right there. All right, there's there's my unequal grid of data of two columns. I guess I should maybe in the future I can get really cool and like do like a bunch of these. Wouldn't that be cool? Let me see. Okay, there we go. All right, I'll figure out how to draw that faster in the future. Anyhow, so we kick out this grid of data, and on this left column, this is all of those basket of instruments, right? So we got 6J, we got 6E, we got ES. You guys know the drill, right? CL. And then what I want to know are, what are all these settings that I should use? Optimized. That's what the term optimized comes from. What are the optimized settings that I want for my system for tomorrow? Oops, I just draw to the left. From the history. Okay, it's getting late, folks. Put him to bed. All right, tomorrow. Here is where we want that to go. And I'll just try to type yellow and it did orange. All right, let's rush. Let's run it. All right, you get it? You guys got it? I'm going to show you guys the grid, and let's digest the grid, shall we? Oh, she's still running. Optimization. Still going. Time remaining. Okay, we've run 4 minutes and 53 seconds. So, a little bit longer than the 4 minutes I anticipated. You know, normally, again, I really don't normally show you guys this stuff because it's boring. It just runs, and most people are like, yawn fest. I get it. This is total nerddom. You know, if you don't like this stuff, you know, then, well, full auto's not for you. But if you geek out on this stuff, this might be for you. Let's see. We're at now 5 minutes. 5 minutes and 22 seconds. It's running a little long. Did I add something? Oh, normally I don't have FDAX in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I've got 9 instruments instead of 8, what I typically have. So that could be adding a little. Oh, you know what it is? You know what it is? Ah, there we go. All right, so I was a minute off. Not bad. Okay, you know what it is too? Is there is a lot more bars of data. Why? What would be a reason that I would have more bars of data in this recent data set than I'm maybe having in the past? Think about it. You guys got a lot of smart folks in here. Why would I have a lot more bars of data right now? Why would this have taken a little bit longer for us this week as opposed to, like, say, last week or last Sunday, right before last week occurred? I'm like giving all kinds of hints here, so I'm sure somebody smart is going to get the answer to this. And let's see. Okay, so our grid here, 18,000 for our period. And do I see any negatives? I don't. What's our worst player? Worst player is the YM. Best player, wow, FDAX still coming up on top. That is interesting because I do not do. This is what we want to digest, right? This is where the stats geeks got to kind of put your stat hat on, and let's dig into what we're looking at for our settings and things that we might want to be running. Okay, I'm going to pull this down here a little bit farther. All right, and what I want to be looking for is what's my seasonality. This is a key question to me. Okay, for me, what is, okay, what's in play? What do I want to have on my charts for tomorrow to have the best opportunity? No guarantees, of course, folks, right? What is my best time frames? That's what I want to answer with this information. And then what time of day is this also going to be in? All right, I didn't see anybody answer that question. And then again, I think maybe, I'm not sure if, yeah, I think something's up with my YouTube stream there, so maybe nobody answered. But the answer to that question was, why would I have more bars of data? Because last week was insane, right? There was a massive amount of movement in the market, which produces more bars with our stuff. Now, not in time bars, right? Time bars are useless, right? I have a video out there entitled, if you guys want to Google it, so Google Vinny time charts are useless, and you know, have a hat at that. They have the same numbers of bars. but the way that we trade with our internal patterns that we see in algo bar levels, range bars, we're going to get a lot more bars produced because of all that volatility, right? I mean, the markets, we got lots and lots of movement, lots of price movement, lots of price changes, great opportunities, and we just absolutely crushed it last week like that. Again, it was really hard not to make money in an environment like that. Oops, just hit that on the wrong screen. Okay, so let's dive into some of the deets. Let's go and look at FDAX since it was our top one, and we'll look at some different performers. We won't go through all these, but I want you guys to understand what I do. And again, make sure that Raylan kind of gets tapped on the shoulder there. Timothy, range, yes, we want to know those ranges for tomorrow. So let's look at the graph. Okay, so the P&L graph, that's looking pretty darn good for this time frame, but what's more important, people usually stop right there. This is the problem. Go in right here. Okay, I want you guys to dig into the details. This is what we do that no one else does, folks. And again, I'm not saying no one else, okay, but you know what I'm saying. Like, this is what gives us edge in what we do. This is part of our edge. Here we go. So I'm going to go into distribution, okay? This is a key right here. And you guys have watched my videos on Max Adverse Excursion. There's MAE right there. You want to go check those out to understand what that is. But this is one that's really easy for anybody, pretty much anybody, any level to understand, because everybody can read a graph, right? Bar graphs. Here we go. So what is this? Well, distribution by hour, okay? Now, one of the keys that I like to do, the default for this out of the box is exit time. To me, that's also not as useful as the entry time, because I want to know when should I enter, right? I don't care when I exit, right? So I wish they would default this, but you know, it is what it is. So again, another step you guys have to take. Select entry time. Okay, entry time and scale by hour or by the half hour if you really want to get down to some major details. Okay, you can see down to the half hour granularity level of what half hour is best. Here's the market open for the US, 9:30. Remember, everything that we do here is in Eastern time. 9:30 to 11:30. Can you guys see something very, very simple here? If you're going to turn on this system on full auto, can you see that the best time for this to run in this current market condition is from what time to what time? All right, my 8-year-old daughter can read from these, you know, type of line bars and line charts. So this time frame, we got a 2-hour window between 9:30 and 11:30 that we've got this nice set of green right here, you know, and postmarked by, earmarked by these red bars right here, right? So why wouldn't I just, here you go. You see how we get this information? Just very simple, plain practicality of what we do and how we apply what we do, okay? This is for the FDAX. Now look, here's another interesting window. Now, would I have been able to know that, like me as a person? Would I think, oh, well, there's some time at night for this to run? But all of a sudden, my eye is catching this over here. Now, FDAX is an interesting thing, right? Again, I don't trade it much. It's because of the tick value, not because of the way it moves or anything. It's a great one. If you guys are trading FDAX, this is, you know, hopefully you guys are soaking this up. And look at the time window here. This is 2:30 a.m. to 4, right? Does this look like a good time frame to run this system? Sure does. So I look at two things. I want to know what's the best time, and what is the worst time. Now, why can I benefit from knowing what the worst time is? I'll tell you very, very simply. The way that I apply things is there something consistently over time where a system consistently loses a lot of money? Because did you know that any system that loses a lot of money is a very easy system to make money with? That is such a weird, counterintuitive statement. But what if you could flip this bar upside down, turn it from red to green? How would you do that? Pop quiz to the room. How would you turn that red bar to green? Using the same strategy, what would you do to make money during that window if this is the worst time of that, right? By far, there is a half hour in there where this is just completely wrecked, right? So I would want to do something right here. What pop quiz is, what would I want to do right here? using the same system. Not like, oh, we'll use another system or something like that. How could I turn this into a positive? That is the question. Let's move on to the next one, see if anybody answers that here. Give them a second to answer. Let's see, I know there's a little bit of a delay in here. Yes, Anthony nails it. Kudos! Trade in the opposite direction. All right, so check it out. Now here's crude oil. Now this one looks fun. Crude is just consistent across the board right now. Crude oil is on the move as well. I mean, this is just, is there a window of time when you're like, oh, there's one specific time? No. Am I gonna run crude all day on this? Yes. Are you guys following with me? And yes, you guys are on it. Reverse the logic, exactly. Or if the trade takes, here we go. All right, what button would I push? If this thing, if I got it set to auto entry, and these are my buttons. Again, our system is very simple, folks. All right, we keep it simple around here because I'm not that smart, so I need just ask my trolls. I'm a complete idiot. So I got to keep it simple for myself. I got 8 buttons. There's my button right there. Beep. All right, during that time window, if I'm interjecting this as a cyborg, human and machine, the system enters into that position. During that half hour, I might, okay, during this window, I got a little note for myself. I want to reverse this position, right? Punch in, it gets in, bang, yo, look at Robert crushing it. We got this nice little, for us, it's blue, all right? Now yours looks ugly, all right? You're probably on your, if you ain't got AlgoBox installed, your buttons are ugly. All right, but yes, punch it right there for that time window. You guys, you see it? This is how we full auto, semi-auto, cyborg style trading. Okay, let's move to the next one. Crude oil. Wow, like, I mean, there's nothing that stands out here, right? Let's look at the next one. ES. Oh, ES is just crushing it. I can pretty much run it all day, but I might want to ask myself, when do I not want to run it? What's that right there? I don't like that. What's going on right there? Well, what time is that? That's the last half hour of the day, isn't it? 15:30. That's 3. Those military guys, right? That's 3:30. We close at 4, so that's the final half hour. What should I do in the final half hour? You guys already nailed it. Reverse. Play the opposite of this strategy, right? You can turn a losing strategy into a winning strategy. The one that sucks is any strategy that's just up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay? You can't do anything with that. You want something that's got edge in both directions, really, so that you can do this. You guys follow? You mean I'm not using the DOM? Like, oh my gosh, if I get trolled one more time for not using the DOM. These guys who like read their books from the 1980s are still like, oh, he doesn't even use the DOM. No, I don't. I also don't use a rotary dial telephone or a payphone. I don't even have a landline anymore. And I use a smartphone, and shoot, now, like my most recent phone, the thing like wraps around the side, right? We're using smartphones now, people. Get with the program, right? And use AlgoBox for crying out loud, and stop using the dome. Use a good chart trader. Silly. All right. Wow, this is a good one. Oh, I like the look of this. What do we got here? GC. Who's been trading gold last week? In fact, I heard some people, like, gold is not usually like my favorite thing to trade, but lately, this is a fear, right? What do we know about GC? This is a fear play, right? Right? War? War in the air? What do you want to buy? When in doubt, buy gold. Right? Well, gold's been on a tear. Pretty good. Looking pretty consistent across the boards here. Let's look at our next one. NASDAQ. Oh, this one can go back and forth. NASDAQ recently looking pretty awesome. Now, this doesn't always look this good. NASDAQ, I'll tell you right now, this is the beast. Okay, this one, NASDAQ can sometimes be very, very difficult. But, you know, NASDAQ is sort of my bread and butter. Why did I crush it last week? Probably had a lot to do with the fact that NASDAQ was very, very easy to run with last week. And again, this is more than just last week. But remember, we end weight the information. So the stuff that's more recent has more weighting to it. The way that I optimize. Hint, hint, nudge, at the same time. Okay, this one's looking pretty good too. Consistency across the board. What time do I want to flip it? 10 a.m. Surprise, surprise, right? What do I tell you guys? I don't touch the market there. 10 to 10:30. And if you do, you're getting wrecked on NASDAQ, right? See that? 10:10 to 10:30. Look at that. Just cut that out. But imagine if you flip this. Just imagine, just a minute, that this bar, let's see, estimated about that long, so it's more like this, right? And then this one right here, we flip it the other side. Can you guys see how now you can gather a nice solid time frame in which you might want to run this on full auto? Ding, 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 right? And right here, what do we have to do? Reverse. Oops, I should have done that in blue because our blue button for reverse right there for that half hour. Beauty, isn't it? And I'm a beast. Okay, moving through. I said I wasn't gonna do all these, but at this point, why not? We're already there. Look at this, 6E. Looking good across the boards. And what do we do right here? Same thing. Say it with me now. Reverse. That's right. Next. Let's look at the next one. Where am I gonna reverse this one? 6J. Looking pretty good. Across the boards. Where am I gonna reverse? Say it with me now. We're gonna reverse. That's right. At 11:30 at night, apparently. Or is that 10:30? I don't know. I can't. I'm not. Wish I was military. I'm not. All right. Whoa. Lots of trades here on the Dow. This is our worst performer. Okay. Another thing. So you can know from this information when we kick these out, looking at our grid that I give to you guys, you can know what markets you might want to lay off of. So the one we want to lay off of in general is the one that's at the bottom of this list in order. Okay. What's on the bottom of the list? The YM has the least amount of performance even when optimized for this time period, so that's telling me that the YM is going to struggle. Now you might want to ask yourself, if you want to look at a macro level, why would YM be struggling right now? Well, here's a theory. You got crude oil is a heavy component of the Dow. Crude's been on the move like crazy, yep. And then you've got the S&P 500, major components also inside of the Dow. So you've got a mixed mesh of these things. So this guy is just the confused wonder boy in the middle, torn between two very, very powerful forces. Makes sense? So, wouldn't that make sense as to why maybe last week that this might have been a struggle? You see? You see how the logic and things can roll through, folks? And you want to talk about, these guys were like, oh, Vinny doesn't show any kind of stats. You know what? I just haven't had time, dude. I'm busy having kids, busy having babies, living life, doing amazing things with the crew here, around here. But if every once in a while you go dig back in the treasure trove of information that I put out there before, this has all been out there before. That's it. So what I'm going to be doing here tonight, and again, I actually shoved this into our database so this can go into the system, right? Which is why, because you're like, well, why don't I just kick out this grid to you guys? I mean, I do, right? I'm going to be taking a screenshot of this, send that in. But what do you guys typically see, right? When I'm done with this, you guys are going to see this, right? You guys are like, well, you know, how do I get it to this? This is a custom controller, folks. Okay, this is reading from a Microsoft SQL Server database on the back end. Now, do I put this on all your computers? No. Why would I do that, right? We're going to keep this on a centralized server. I'm going to show you guys what SSIS is. Raise your hand if you know, in fact, not raise your hand. Type a 1 if you know what SSIS is. If you don't know what SSIS is, type a 2. But SQL Server Integration Services, so you can integrate things. It's as simple as that. But I'm going to show you guys how we use that in our complex system that you don't have to know how to do, so don't crap yourself and be like, oh, Vinny's system's too complicated, I can't use it. No, we do all the complexity. It's like your smartphone. Do you know how your smartphone works? No. If I bored you all day with how the thing works. All right. So that's in a drop location. Now let's kick off some SQL Server, shall we? We shall. All right. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys with how the databases internally work and that kind of stuff. But we are going to kick this one off, start job at step, and we're going to start this off at step number 2 right now because I've already done the first one because it takes too long, and I went ahead and ran it ahead that. I know you're just kidding, man. So, running it on step 2, kick her off here, and you saw the adjustment there at the end. I've got a little special job step at the end of that to adjust for the max adverse excursion that you guys saw. In fact, let's point that out real quick while we're here. Okay, job's done. I had already run step 1 prior. So here is, let's look at the max adverse excursion on the whole thing first. Go up to the top. So max adverse excursion down here. So this tells you approximately how many, again, you can convert this to ticks. It's a little bit tricky. You have to do this per instrument because, again, each instrument has a different tick value, but approximately $90 of heat across the boards for our trades. Okay, you guys follow that? You want to know approximately how much heat you got even when you got winners. Okay, so things that didn't necessarily go to stops, although this does also include stops. I wish NinjaTrader, if they're listening, my wish list item for you, set you free. Okay, so max adverse excursion here we go. We've got this calculated in. If you guys don't know about what max adverse excursion is, go check out those videos. Type in max adverse excursion VINNY Emini on Google and you'll understand what that is, how we use it, etc., etc. But you saw that third step there where I make adjustments for the max adverse excursion as it gets input into the backend database. Now, how all that works, we just ran that. So now I'm going to close out my controller, which should give us a new set of data, which is going to be the grid that you guys are going to have, and that goes into your systems. All right, we're going to think that these kind of are the main things I like to look at. So this little section right here is the most important. So what do we get out of this information? What you guys are going to do here tonight out of, remember I told you that grid of data of what you need to know and how we're going to have actionable information and actionable items that we can actually do, because again, we are not just theorists, we are practitioners. The difference between us and them. All right. So this is the column. Most of you guys, I want you guys to pay attention to this. All you need to do to make adjustments on everything else that you've got is drop this range into your mid-range chart. Got it? If you guys don't know what that is, type me a 2. If you know what we're talking about there, type a 1. You are going to adjust your wave chart. Again, we have the tide, whoops, the tide, the wave, and the ripple. Okay, this applies to the wave chart. We are going to apply this period for each instrument to the wave chart. Okay, now other things I like to look at right here is the average time in market. All right, so this one, I'm not gonna play with this, right? 137 minutes, no thanks. 6E even, look, I can just cut these 6s right off my list, right? I'm probably not even gonna wanna look at those. You see how easy that was? Too long for me. Now, does that mean I can't trade them? No. Does it mean I wanna prefer them? Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to prefer these. I am looking for other things that are going to work better for me with my personality. I want things a little bit faster. Here's where personality comes in. Not all that BS that you read on Twitter. 26, 4, 1. Yeah, these are all looking good. So there's my list. And FDAX, man, I'm going to have to start looking at that a little more. This has been like the third week in a row now. FDAX has been real nice. And these are the ranges you want to load up for your charts for tomorrow. Yes, folks, based on stats and what we've just recently got and optimized for not overfit, not curve fit, this is your ideal situation for tomorrow and into this week as we progress forward on this beautiful week of charts. I will post a screenshot over there in the Discord channel. I didn't see really many other questions, and I know we've ran a little bit long. We are right at an hour, so we're going to close it up right here, but I hope you guys learned something here tonight. If you did, give us a like, share this out with your friends. All right, folks, thanks for hanging out. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis G, and the rest of the gang, let's send out that big H-Town. See ya! When you want to get off that darkest ground, the gravity pulls you straight down. Keep turning up the